Perhaps one of the most heart-wrenching photos coming out of the controversy, this 2-year-old Honduran girl crying as her mother is searched by U.S. border agents. The picture went viral last week. Joining me now is the man who took that photo, John Moore, Getty Images special correspondent and senior staff photographer. He recently went on a ride-along with border agents capturing that image. He is also the author of Undocumented Immigration and the Militarization of the United States-Mexico Border. John, that image, tell us the story behind that photo and also about your ride along with those border agents, who they are, what they're doing.
Well, I had been with the Border Patrol really all afternoon into evening. We were on the bank of the Rio Grande watching as rafts of people came across from Mexico to the U.S. Almost all of them were asylum seekers, and they came up the banks of the river and walked through the woods. I could hear them, you know, crunching branches under their feet, children crying. And when they reached a dirt road, the U.S. Border Patrol gathered them together and took their names. They checked any documents that they had. They noted the countries they came from. And I noticed there were mostly women and children. There was a little girl, and she was there with her mother. Her mother wouldn't set her down. I was able to speak with the mom very briefly. She said that she'd been on the road with her daughter for a month. And as we know, coming from Honduras through Mexico for a whole month, that journey is extremely difficult and very dangerous. And so when they reached this point, when they had crossed the river in the dead of night and had been faced with bright lights and uniformed officers, obviously they were very scared.
They're prepared to see uniformed officers, though, because they are coming on a raft through the night. We do have immigration laws, and they're not coming through legally. But this zero-tolerance policy, that's new to those migrants, and it's new to you because you've been documenting this for 10 years. So talk about this difference, because this idea is we want people to follow the law. We always wanted people to follow law, but this is different, and this is when humanity comes into play.
That's absolutely right. Really, since 2014, immigrants have been coming across from Central America by the thousands all the time. It dipped a little bit last year, but there's many, many coming across now for political asylum. The difference now is, of course, in the change in policy. These families, when I photographed them, I was certain they had no idea what was about to happen to them. Many of them, I'm sure almost all of them, came across thinking they would have an opportunity to seek political asylum. For me, it was different because I've photographed this before, but I knew what was going to happen next. Now, do all of them get separated? We don't know, but we know that many of them do.
We just looked at a picture of someone you took, an immigrant walking through a sugarcane field. Jeff Sessions is painting a picture, as is the president, that these are gang members, these are drug smugglers, these are rapists and criminals, and we need to protect the American people. Some American person might say these are stunning and upsetting images, but there's also terrible images of Americans that we're not seeing. There was a mass shooting in my home state of New Jersey this weekend. We don't see photographs of that. There was violence in Chicago this weekend. I want to understand, though, what they're doing to these people at the border, these policies, don't change what's happening to people in the United States suffering.
No, these new policies don't change things for Americans in any way.
Do they help people at the border?
At the border, you have these families who are fleeing their countries with the shirts on their back. Most of these folks, they don't leave their countries with months of planning.
But talk about the people of Texas. Talk about the people on the border who it is coming into their town. Are they stealing their jobs? Are they hurting their resources?
Well, most communities along the Texas-Mexican border are mostly Democrat, to be honest. They usually vote Democrat in elections. And so you have varied viewpoints for sure. You have people who are anti-immigrant and those who have a lot of compassion. And that goes the same for the Border Patrol as well. It's a large force. You have people from many different backgrounds. And you have essentially thousands, over 20,000 uniformed officers who are obeying their commands. Now, their commands were very different under the Obama administration than they are now. But it is a law enforcement force, and you can expect them to usually obey orders.
Hey, MSNBC fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down there and click on any of the videos here to watch the latest interviews and highlights. You can get more MSNBC for free every day with our newsletters. Just visit msnbc.com/newsletters to sign up now.